How bullying affects the brain. The primary article that I looked at for this week was Peer Victimization and its Impact on Adolescent Brain Development and Psychopathology. It is known that childhood or adolescence is a pivotal time for development, during which the brain shows decreases in gray matter volume and increases in white matter volume. We also know that chronic bullying has long-term effects on mental health. However, the biological mechanisms underlying this relationship are less known. Typically, children who have experienced trauma show structural brain differences in adulthood. Specifically, they show smaller brain volumes. The goal of this study was to understand adolescent brain development and whether such developmental changes are associated with the relationship between victimization and mental health. Data from Imagine Project, which was a community study of the adolescent brain development and mental health, was used. This included answers to a questionnaire that consisted of questions about emotional abuse and neglect, physical abuse and neglect, and sexual abuse. The questionnaire was administered to participants at the ages of 14, 16, and 19. In addition, researchers also looked at MRIs taken at ages 14 and 19 for comparison. And finally, psychopathology symptoms were also evaluated at 19 to observe the overall outcome of the peer victimization. A computer algorithm was then used and showed that 36 of the 682 participants were chronically bullied. After analysis, they found that the volume of the left putamen, caudate, and gray matter were all decreased in individuals that experienced chronic victimization. Using an indirect model, they also found that the changes in brain volume were related to generalized anxiety disorder and for some participants also depression. In conclusion, this study found that peer victimization leads to changes in brain structures, which leads to mental health issues including generalized anxiety. The secondary article that I looked at was called How Bullying Affects the Brain, and I found this on neurosciencenews.com. I thought that the author of the secondary article gave sufficient background information and an accurate description of the methods and results of the study. It also included a quote from the author or an author of the primary article, which explained that while the caudate and putamen are not classically related to anxiety, their contribution to related behaviors such as reward, sensitivity, motivation, emotional processing, and attention are important and probably what lead to their contribution. I thought that including the quote helped to emphasize the finding of the study, and overall I would give this article 5 stars.